Welcome back to the channel, guys. So tomorrow we're going to be playing our first round on camera. I'm going to do 9 holes at Reed at 7:20 in the morning. Just decided to come out here and hit a few golf balls to kind of work out that lesson that I had. I played around this morning, which didn't go especially great. I had like at least 3 triple bogeys, but I kind of expected the swing to be a bit messed up off the drives with the changes I'm making. Making changes on the course, not necessarily the best thing. So yeah, we're going to try and work this out and see if we can get it updated. It'll be a first chance to see me hit some balls. So my main goal here is to focus on getting a nice high backswing. It's the thing I've been working on. So I'm trying to get this club up nice and high on the, and then follow through. It came out pretty good. So we're lined up a bit to the left here with the way this is set up. And so probably want to try and go over that red flag is going to be a good straight shot, but that one would have been left edge of the fairway, I'd say. Yeah, push that a little bit to the right. Once again, pretty good contact. What I like about the change to my swing is I really feel like I'm dropping down into the ball, whereas before I was just rotating straight around my body. So what my coach had is I was going like this around, and now I'm trying to get more up. That would have been middle of the fairway. A little bit of a fade. Well, we just finished up our session then. Didn't go too badly. Irons I've got to work on a little bit again, but we're getting there. The reason we're out here at the driving range rather than at Reed is that the driving range there doesn't allow us to hit anything other than irons. So I'm out here at the driving range up in North Appleton. It takes me about 15 minutes to get out here, but it's not a bad little setup out here. We'll certainly be able to hit some shots. So we'll see you on the golf course tomorrow. Hopefully we have a good one. All right, we're at the golf course. We've been told if we want to play as a single, I need to head straight out. I got here a bit early, but I'd rather be on my own here. So we're coming up to the tee right now. All right, our plan was to change my GPS to yards for you guys, but for the moment it's in meters, but I'm pretty good at converting that on the fly. So we'll do that next time since we're in a little bit of a hurry here. As you saw, I spent a bit of time in the driving range yesterday. Hopefully we get off this first tee clean. I'll just wait for this guy to get out of the way and then we'll be ready to hit off. All right, well outside my range. So we're starting off with a par 5 here for the first hole at Reed. See if we can get off to a good start. We've got a bunkers on the left and right, which I usually don't reach. That's a pretty good drive. Little left of the fairway, or left side of the fairway, but we should be right at the bunker. So we've hit about 205 here. We've come just a little short of the bunkers. If I do get back up to my normal distance, and those bunkers are definitely going to come into play. We take a 3-wood here. See 236 meters, a little over 250, 260 to the green. The pins are in number 1 position. I'll have to check what that is when we hit this shot. Let's see how we go here. So it looks like we've hit a pretty good shot here, coming up to just in front of the green from a par 5. So the pins are in the front. The way that the system works here at Reed, we've got pin positions are usually 1, 2 or 3. Today we're number 1. And on the card, you'll be able to see down the bottom of the card, let's go the right way. Down the bottom of the card here, it shows for each hole what the pin placement is for each pin position. So it gives you a rough idea if it's front, center or back of the green. Okay, so we're going to have a little wedge in here. It's about 60 yards to the pin. Actually not quite that, 55 yards. So yeah, let's talk a little bit about my clubs. They're Callaway Hawkeye irons. I bought these about 30 years ago, but they were one of the first generation of the new cavity-backed clubs. So they're pretty nice irons. They cost me $3,500 Australian when I bought them. Sure, they're better irons now, but I'm a firm believer it's more about how you hit the ball than anything else. So we're going to be trying to get this up around the 55-yard mark, just a little outside that classic chip distance, but the greens bounce quite hard here in front. So I'm going to hit this like probably a 40-yard, 40 yard pitch. I'm going to use my Phil Mickelson technique of keeping the club cocked a little. Let's see if we can get this close. That won't be too bad, maybe just a little short. We've just got it on the green. I'm pretty happy with the length on that. So we've given ourselves a shot at birdie here, so we'll see if we can make that. These greens are notoriously hard to read, very subtle undulations in them. It was around this point in editing the video that I noticed my microphone was having trouble throughout much of the round. What I've done is, whenever the audio is reasonable and you can understand it, I've left it in, so please excuse any crackles that you may hear. I should have it fixed for the next video. When the video just was completely unintelligible, I've added in voiceovers that explains my thinking at the time. Hopefully you'll forgive the issues this time around, and we'll try and make it much better for the next video. Thank you. Pretty much straight at it. We'll see if we get it close for a par. If we get a birdie, then great. We left this one just short, but a tap-in par on the first hole is a pretty good start. Here we are on the par 3 second hole. It's a little over 140 yards to a centre pin. I'm playing off the yellow tees today. Reed Golf Course has 3 sets of tees, white, yellow and red. The reds are for ladies, seniors, beginners, and the whites are the most difficult. Yellows are just a little bit easier than that. On Monday, Wednesdays and Fridays, I play with a group of older gentlemen who mostly play off the yellows and reds. I'm playing off the yellows, which I recommend. If you're a high handicapper player coming out to a course, please don't play from the tips. It just slows everybody down. So our goal here is just to hit a nice clean iron. My irons have probably been the most inconsistent over the last few days, so let's see if we can get a clean iron up there. It may be a little short, but we'll see how my length is. Now I think we're on, probably not fully all the way to the pin, so we'll see how we go. Okay, so we made it pretty solidly onto the green, but we've got quite a ways to go with this putt still. I'm guessing probably 3 feet, maybe 50. But we got a chance once again at a solid putt. I think this green slopes this way a little, but it flattens out up here near the pin. So we're going to take a good look at this. Goal here is to get it within 3 feet so that we get a short tap in. That will be easier said than done at this distance, but we'll give it a go. So we had a bit of rain overnight, so the fairways are quite wet. Just walking up there and I was sloshing around a little. These greens look pretty good though. They seem to have mostly dried out, but I've got to imagine they're a little bit slower than normal with this. So let's see if we can get this in the ballpark. Not bad, I think. But we just missed the hole. We left a tricky 7 or so foot putt with a right to left break. We didn't hit it quite high enough and left ourselves with a tap in for a 3-putt bogey. We're going to the first par 4 here on the 3rd hole. It's a tricky hole, easy to par, but also easy to get in trouble. There is water on the right that comes in quite a bit down where you are landing, and a bunker on the left that is still quite a ways from the green and easily within range of my driver. I still take a driver with the expectation of fading off the bunker. Talking about equipment, my driver is the Callaway Rogue. I got it just a few years ago. I'm pretty happy with it. And all of my clubs are Callaways, except my putter, which we'll talk about at some point today. All right, let's try and get another good one off. Aim just a fraction left. Key with aiming left is to make sure you're really aiming left and not just opening up your stance, because then you'll be much more inclined to slice it out to the right. So. Okay, so we've carried that just over the bunker, which is a very nice surprise. Or maybe I just came up the side of it here. But the grass here is pretty long, so I imagine it landed pretty close to this spot. We've got a somewhat tricky little chip here because we're going uphill out of long grass. And we've got not well. We've got to get it to the green there. We'll probably be aiming to land at probably just on the green. I'm going to try and get this up fairly high and get it to land soft. So we'll see how we go here. We've got about, actually, what have we got to the green? Yeah, we've got about 55 yards to that pin. It's going to be just a little short, which is not surprising hitting uphill, but we've made the front edge of the green. So we've managed to leave ourselves just on the green. Pretty long putt. What I do need to do here is get a bit more aggressive with those kinds of chips. So let's take a quick look here and see what this looks like. Let's have a little bit of time here. And I'm trying to be conscious of not holding up the group behind us. I've got a single in front of me. Of course, he's bolted. But as a single, even though I'm recording this, I shouldn't be too much of a bother to the team behind. They're just coming off the previous green, and they're a threesome. I think, or maybe a two. Yeah, it looks like they're a two. So, not to keep moving, but still want to take a bit of time on our putt. So we've got a long way to go, probably 50, 60 feet. And it's definitely going to go left to right, in my opinion. Of course, I say that, it could go anyway, but we'll assume that. Weight is the key here. We want a short putt. That's a bit hard, I think. I might even be off the back of the green there. Yep. Well, we've stayed on the green, but we've left ourselves with a pretty long putt for par. Definitely want to be trying to take advantage of those good drives. All right, well, it definitely broke, like I said, left to right. This one's going to go right to left now. Let's get some of this. There's a lot of wet cut grass on these greens, which the ball is picking up. So get that off the ball so it doesn't affect the strike. All right, close to the pin. That was pretty quick. Not a bad putt. So that's another bogey. So we're 2 over through 3, which is not bad. So the game I played yesterday was right after my lesson where I changed everything about my swirl, changed quite a bit of my swing. And I didn't get to the range at all. So I'm pretty much treating that as a practice round. I'm not going to put that in for handicapping purposes. It feels like it's a bit of an outlier. I went out to the driving range as you saw yesterday, so feeling like it's a lot more grooved in. So we've got another par 3 here. There are 3 par 3s on this front 9 and only 1 par 5. So it's a par 35 on this side of the course. Let's see, we have a pin. Well, I'll play 140 because I'm hitting them a little short. So that's going to be, once again, about a 7-iron should get me there. I'd rather not go over the back of this green. So if we come up a little short, but we're on the green, that'd be my preference. If we flush this, we should be up near the pin. So we'll see how we, I've been saying that a lot, haven't I? Let's see how we go. If that cuts, it'll be not bad. I think it's just going to stay off the left side. Yeah, we got good length on that, but we pulled it a little left and then faded to the right side, just off the green to the, just off the green to the left, I should say. So we've hit this almost perfectly to pin high. If that had faded a little more, we would have had a pretty good shot at birdie. As it is here, the fringe here is pretty even grass, so I'm going to putt this, even though it's a little bit of distance. The key I find for me with putting from like this is try to focus on making sure I get it past to the green. Make sure I'm getting enough to get over this grass, and then just maybe a little extra depending on the length. But I'm not trying to really hit it like a putt to the full way to the hole. So we got off the grass and now we're just trickling up and we're going to go in the hole. A birdie. Very nice. We'll take that. That's a great result. And that'll really help us after missing those 3 putts on the previous 2 holes. You will notice I'm not quite as exuberant as some people when it comes to things like that. It's just my nature, you'll learn. fairly laid back Australian. All right, so this is probably the hardest hole on this 9. Let me check the index and see. So we're on the 5th index, yeah, handicap 2. So this is the hardest hole on this 9. Number 1 is on the back 9. So the way handicapping works is they always make sure that there's an even number of holes. So if the hardest hole is on the back 9, the second hardest will be on this 9, the third hardest will be on the back 9, the fourth on this, and so on. So the reason this one's hard is purely about length. For the seniors playing off those red tees, this is actually marked as a par 5. But off the yellows and whites, it's a par 4. It's going to be a good... Oh, let's change this to the... let's mark our birdie. So we're at 420 yards to the center of the green. The main goal here is to get it up the middle, not go into the bunker on the left. We'd rather not be in any fairway bunkers. We went straight left. We're probably going to hit the tree though. Definitely hit the tree. So we're not going in the bunker, but hopefully we have a decent shot from there. That means I'm almost certainly not going to be able to reach this in 2. Okay, so we found our ball. I'm pretty sure we hit this tree. This course it's fairly wide fairways, but they are all tree lined. So, you know, without the trees, that would have probably curled onto the fairway because it was fading a little from the left. But it can leave you in a bit of trouble. Now, luckily, I think we actually have a clear shot through here if I don't get it up too high. So I was thinking you might get to see that putter come out, but I believe we should be able to hit a 3-wood. So we'll try and get a 3-wood over that bunker and down into a range where we can, yeah, and actually we're luckily, these branches are in the way, but we're going right through a gap between them. So I should be able to swing without hitting anything. Yep, we're good. All right, so I don't know if I go straight up the way I normally do. So we have to do a bit of my old style swing, a little bit flatter. All right, concentrate on this. We've topped it. I was definitely thinking about that, and I've ended up putting it in that fairway bunker. It's a bit unfortunate. Maybe I should have just hit that putter and punched it out there. I could have probably hit that all the way down to the 150 marker if I'd done that. So our goal here is not to blow up on this hole. We're probably going to be struggling to get a bogey here, maybe even a double. Let's try and get this out. I've had a reasonable amount of success in the past with hitting fairway woods out of these bunkers, so we just need to make good contact with the ball. The harder part, of course, is not being able to rest the club, but I think, see how we go. Well, we got it out, not great. We're just past the 150 yard marker, so we've got a shot into the green from there. So this is definitely the biggest challenge for a high handicapper like where I am right now. You know, we try to make shots that are probably not the smartest shots, right? Shot selection is probably the biggest issue. So really should have, you know, taken a safer shot out from under those trees, got back out on the fairway, and then been able to get down near the green for maybe, you know, 3-4 shots. Right now we've had, 1, 2 into the bunker, 3 out. So we've already had 3. Maybe we can get it on the green here in 3. We're certainly in range. Let's see, we'll walk up here and see what we got. I messed up the recording of my approach shot, which was a 6-iron from about 145 to the front pin. I played a longer club, hoping for middle of the green at worst, but I hit a slice that left me just short right of the green. Okay, so we've come up maybe 6-7 feet short of the green, although we're going across a little bit more with the angle we have to hit. And we've got about 40 feet, I'd say, to the pin. I'm not quite sure which way this is going to break. I think there's a ridge line here. So I think I'm just going to go straight at this one, or try to. A lot of times with this, I just let my sort of subconscious brain decide exactly how I'm going to hit it. I just sort of hit the ball. I'm mainly going to focus once again on weight. So let's see if we can Make sure we get over this the fringe. That won't be a, oh, actually that took a little bit of a kick at in there. I think it hit something. I think that was going to be pretty close, but it caught a little something right here. Yeah, there's a pitch mark there that it caught. So I think we need to make this to get a double bogey. I definitely don't want any triples like I did yesterday. So let's see if we can make this one. Once again, I'm having trouble reading this cleanly. It's, I think we're straight uphill. So it broke left to right to where it is, which makes me think that it was coming down the hill here. I'd say, I think I might be right on the low point. I'm going to aim just left to the pin. And we got it. All right, that was pretty straight. So we've saved that double bogey. Obviously not a great score, but it could have been a lot worse. So I mean, that's the kind of hole we could have blown up to like a 3-4 over quite easily with the mistakes we made early on. So we finished off strong. So here we're at the third par 3. I did say earlier it was only 2 par 5s. What I really meant is there's actually, so 1 par 5. There's 2 par 5s, but this previous hole is the one that's not a par 5 for the yellow marker. So that's why it's a par 35 and not a par 36 for this 9 holes. So we are looking at a back pin around 120. I could probably hit a 9-iron pretty safely here, I think. So yeah, we'll go for that. So for some reason, when I hit an 8-iron, if I hit it a little bit low, they really fly. But the 9-iron is less likely to do that for me. The bigger danger is maybe hitting it a bit high and coming up short. But since it's a back pin, we should easily make the middle of the green with a 9-iron. Once again, we don't want to scull it because those tend to fly long. But I think we're pretty good. That's right at the pin. Pretty good contact. Oh yeah, we're definitely middle of the green at worst, maybe up towards the pin. That's going to be very nice. We've hit a perfect shot if the pin was actually at the back. I misread the card. For some reason I thought we were using the 3 pins. It's number 1 pins. I thought the pin was right around here, which would have meant I'd had about a 6-foot putt for birdie. So great shot. Just made a mistake on the card. We pitched right around here, so yeah, that was a very pure strike, exactly where I wanted it. I'm not sure if we're picking up that tractor driving around here, but greensmen are out here early. Well, actually, they're out here late. Still working on the course. They don't believe in 4 and 5 a.m. starts here on this course. I guess that's a Wisconsin thing. All right, so let's look at this putt. We want to make sure we get a par out of this, since we thought we were going to get a birdie. I think it's going to go left to right, and the danger here is running off the front of the green. It's not going to break. Not a terrible weight. That would have been a little bit past, but not too bad. But it didn't break the way I thought. Got a little break at the end, but nowhere near as much as I thought. So at this point, we've left ourselves with potentially a little bit of a tricky putt here. It's not super long. I mean, we're about, what, 4 or 5, just over 4 feet away. But because this is downhill, we've now left ourselves going across the break a little bit. And right edge of the cup, I think. Oh, and it just broke off. We were so close. I was thinking of hitting that a bit firmer to try and take the break out of it, but what I didn't want to do was go a mile past and then miss the next one. So we got a bogey out of that after having a very real chance at a birdie if I hadn't messed up on the card. All right, moving on to the par 5. All right, so we're here on the par 5. This hole is I wouldn't say it's a hard hole, but we have trees left and right that either way you end up being a little bit blocked out if you end up in those trees. On the second shot, there's water on the left almost all the way to the hole. So we want to at best, preferably end up on the right-hand side for our second shot. Like when we hit our second shot, we want to hit that to the right. But this one anywhere in the middle would be good. So let's see what we can do here. We've gone a little bit left, but I think we may be okay. I think we've stayed out of the tree. So my camera accidentally went into photo mode then, so we missed that shot. But yeah, we ended up further left than we expected. There's a big tree behind us, and I think we just clipped it a little and it deflected it further up this hill. I had expected to be down closer to the fairway. My ball was right here. I needed to go over these trees because water on the left. So I kind of got my knees quite bent and low to try and keep it up and managed to hit a nice shot over those second set of trees. Faded a little bit out to the middle of the fairway. We should have a pretty short shot into the green. Well, I'm having some trouble here with my camera, with user error. So we got down to about 65 yards from the green on that par 5. We had a tricky chip over the edge of the bunker to a close pin, which meant that I tried something a little bit awkward and it didn't work. I flew the green, went off the back into the rough. I hit a lovely chip out of very heavy rough to within about 6 feet of the hole, and then missed a little slider that just pulled a little left off the pin and missed it. So we made bogey on the par 5. Definitely had a very solid chance at a par or a birdie there, but didn't quite get it off. So par 4 here, second last hole up the hill. See if we can get a good one into play here. So we have water in front of us here, which only comes into play if you miss hit it. If we have not, that is going to be right up the middle with a gentle fade. It's going to land right in the middle of the fairway. Probably just past the 150 marker, I would say. In 135 yards to the center. We're going to be looking at probably, I think a good 8 iron will get us right to the middle there. So some of the golfers out there will be noticing I'm definitely hitting shorter clubs than a lot of the players you would have watched. I've never been a big hitter of the irons. Part of that is I tend to hit them pretty high. I don't mind that I hit them high because they tend to land right on the number when I hit them well. It doesn't really matter how hard the greens are. They tend to sort of sit down. But we may see if that change over time as we get our swing a little more traditional. But for now, this 8 iron should be about it. We've got a good contact. I went very high and a little bit left. Actually, that came down center. I think, yeah, we've come up just a little bit short, right on line for the middle of the green, but just a little short. It went very high that time though. So as you can see, we came up just a few feet short of the green. That's one of the challenges with hitting a high irons. Like I said, the ground doesn't affect it much, but we had a bit of a headwind there, and with how high it went, it definitely took some of the distance off there. Not a strong breeze, but definitely enough to hold the ball up. So we're looking at probably a bit of left to right. We're at least 60, 70 yards from the pin. Let's see if we can get this. Once again, within that 3 foot range is what we're looking for. A little short, but maybe close enough to get that putt. We read this 4-footish putt as a straight shot and slammed it into the hole for a nice par. So the key for me in hitting those straight putts, or hitting where you want to go in general, is the follow through. I see a lot of people out here who putt badly, who stab at the ball, and it's very easy to pull it or push it when you do that. If you don't have your club head following through a little bit, you're probably ending up curving it or whatever. Okay, so last hole here, par 4, fairly long as well, reasonably long. It's up around 360. They're certainly reachable in 2 for me if I hit 2 decent shots. We're into a like a moderately stiff headwind though, like, you know, probably 5-6 miles an hour type thing, noticeable. All right. Started that out a little on the left side of the fairway, but we're over on the left side here. Hopefully it missed the edge of that tree. If it did, it's going to be great. It was going down that left side and fading, and that's really where I lined up. The tee's a bit deceptive here. It tends to set you up for that because it's so far over to the left-hand side. I should have allowed for that, but we'll see how we went. Okay, so we've had a bit of a mess this hole. The drive I was unable to find off of the I guess it must have hit that tree. I thought I was going to find it in the middle of the fairway. In deference to the people who were following, I decided not to go back and play it again. So I dropped one on the fairway and played 3 from there. And I've hit a 6-iron to just over to the right of the green here. We're going to try and run this up. So at this point we're playing 4 onto the green. Coming out of some long grass here. It's not going to be a trivial one to get the weight right on. That's not going to be bad. Yeah, I'm reasonably happy with that. It was going to be hard to judge the length. We've got about a 6-7 footer for a 5, right? Okay, so that's a little bit longer than I thought. I'd say we're probably looking at more like, let's see, 1, 2, 3, about 12 feet. I think pretty straight putt. If we can get this in, we'll get away with a bogey, which with a lost ball is not so bad. Ball and distance effectively, because I hit a 3 from where I should have been hitting a 2. We've just missed that by an inch. That was a pretty good putt. It broke a little more, like, didn't expect it to break. Didn't expect that to break, but it just went a slight bit at the end. So we got a double bogey there. Okay, so there you go. We finished with a double bogey. We ended up 7 over par. Probably the best round I've had on this 9 since I've started coming here. So 7 over for that would be roughly a 14 over, which is certainly well ahead of my 18 handicap. And now the one thing you have to understand is that the course rating here probably makes this play a little bit easier than handicap. I'll have to do some math and work that out at some point. Maybe I'll add that in later on. But this is rated from the gold at a 67 on a par 71 course. So 4 shots, so probably need to shoot about 14 over to shoot to an 18 handicap. With that, this is going to end our first video. I hope you guys have had fun. I know I missed a few shots there, but hopefully we caught most of it, and we'll do this again soon. Thank you very much. Also, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to give me a chance to get this channel off the ground. Appreciate it very much.